CJ Flyer back with another YouTube video. So March Madness this year has been nothing short of exciting, thrilling, some games going down to the wire as is usual in March. However, it does make you wonder, with upsets happening like NC State making it to the Final Four, could those upsets, could those Cinderella runs, and could some of these teams like Purdue and UConn even still make it to a championship game if the format were a little bit different? So we've gone ahead in NBA 2K24, we've set up the Sweet 16 contestants and put them in an NBA playoffs format bracket where instead of single elimination games with 20-minute halves, we have them doing best of 7 series in every single one of these rounds, playing with the NBA rules. So that means 24-second shot clock, 12-minute quarters, 6 fouls to foul out. You get the picture. So we're going to simulate these games and see if we get a different outcome than what we have in real life with Purdue versus UConn in the championship game. Alright, we're 3 games in, and you can see there's only 2 series right now where a team has a 3-0 lead, that being Marquette with the 3-0 lead over NC State and Purdue with the 3-0 lead over Gonzaga. We're going to go ahead, simulate again, Purdue being the first team to sweep. Marquette also getting the sweep against NC State, so we already have a slightly different outcome for the Final Four. San Diego State has a 2-1 lead over UConn. That's very surprising. Now with a 3-1 lead, and Alabama really taking it to North Carolina here. Go ahead, simulate again. North Carolina now trying to come back from the 3-0 deficit against Alabama. And oh my goodness, this is crazy. We already are going to have a different championship game. I refuse to believe this could happen in real life. If anything, I would think UConn would sweep San Diego State, or at least win this one in 6 games at most. But yeah, we have Illinois falling, San Diego State taking down UConn, and now we have a 3-3 series here, Alabama and North Carolina. North Carolina, of course, trying to make that 3-1 comeback. All right, it's a neck-and-neck game, back and forth. Alabama starting to take a bit of a lead here in the second half. We're getting down to the wire, and it looks like Alabama is going to hold on in this series and pull away to take down North Carolina and make it to the Elite 8. Arizona and Clemson also going to 7 games. Arizona here with the early lead in the second quarter, still taking it to Clemson. It is really close though, and here in the last couple minutes, Clemson taking a lead nearly 8 points. We're going to go ahead and continue the sim, and there you go. Arizona falls to the Clemson Tigers. So we do get the same matchup here, Alabama versus Clemson. We also still get the Purdue versus Tennessee matchup in the Elite 8. However, on the other 2 quadrants of this bracket, we got Iowa State and San Diego State, and Marquette and Duke. So far, so good for San Diego State. They're the only team in the Elite 8 matchups with a 3-0 lead over their opponent, and they're going to go ahead and sweep Iowa State to move on to the Final Four. Meanwhile, the other matchups we got going on, Purdue and Tennessee, it's back and forth. Tennessee started this one up 2-0, and now Purdue is making that comeback up 3-2 in the series. Can they pull through? And yes, they will. They will come back from the 0-2 deficit to Tennessee to make it into the Final Four. Meanwhile, Alabama versus Clemson, a classic college football matchup, now going neck and neck in college basketball. Who's going to be able to pull this one out? Clemson's been dominating this whole game. It looks like this is it for the Crimson Tide. Yeah, they are going to fall by 20 points here in this one in Game 7. And now the Final Four. We have Clemson, San Diego State on the one end, Purdue and Duke on the other end. So in real life, we had none other than UConn, we had Alabama, Purdue, and NC State. And in this resimulation with NBA rules, it looks like Purdue is the only one of the Final Four teams that is actually able to make it back to the Final Four in the best of 7 series format, which really surprises me. I don't feel like, look, maybe as a Purdue fan, over the past several years, we tend to have a bit of pessimism towards our team in the postseason, and we don't see any adversity. I mean, look, they've lost to so many double-digit seeds in the past that just in simulations, in real life, I never really expect much out of them. I'm truly amazed, and I'm glad they even made the championship game. Honestly, it's been great. They're probably going to lose by like 30 to UConn, but hey, they made it. I'm happy. And if they win, that's just the cherry on top. So we'll see what happens. But here we are in this simulation down to the Final Four. We're going to go ahead, start simulating it. Clemson and Purdue both getting game ones in their respective series. San Diego State, man, after getting two dominant first two rounds here, looks like they're starting to fall. But San Diego State finally able to take a game. And there you go. Clemson's moving on to the championship series. Meanwhile, on the other end, Purdue and Duke duking it out, if you will. But nonetheless, Purdue able to take it. And your conference finals MVPs, or should I say the semifinals MVPs on both ends. We got PJ Hall for Clemson averaging 24 points per game, 9 rebounds, an assist, a steal on 46% from the field shooting. That free throw percentage looking real nice at 95%. And of course, do I even need to say it? Obviously, Zach Edey is going to be the MVP for the other semifinal. 17 points per game, 15 rebounds, an assist, 2 blocks, and shooting over 50% from the field as expected. So here we are, championship series, Purdue versus Clemson. Clemson taking game 1, Purdue taking game 2, Clemson taking game 3, here we go. And there you have it. The Clemson Tigers winning the championship with Joseph Girard III getting the finals MVP, 26 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. So looking at the top performers in the Sweet 16 NBA format, we have Omaha with 28 points per game. He was the leading points per game scorer from Iowa State. We got Caleb Love, the transfer from North Carolina, now playing for Arizona, getting 25 points per game. We have Armando getting 23 points per game. We got Lamont Butler from San Diego State, 23 points per game. Stephon Castle, of course, you know he's going to be getting buckets. We got Marcel from NC State. He had an incredible run in real life, helping NC State get to that Final Four. And as for my Purdue Boilermakers, Zach Edey 17th in points per game amongst all teams in Sweet 16. The leading rebounders, of course, Zach Edey number 1. We got Graham Ike from Gonzaga at number 2. They, of course, only had that one series against Purdue in 4 games. We got Armando again from North Carolina with his 12 boards. We got the guy out of Arizona with 12 boards. And Muhammad from NC State. I'm surprised that wasn't like, DJ Burns. Leader in assists is Kolek from Marquette. That's not a surprise. Klingon getting the second most assists in the Sweet 16 from UConn. Steals, Kolek is also the leader. Blocks, Armando from North Carolina the leader. Actually, where's Edey? Man, Edey down at 6th in blocks per game. That is actually a little bit surprising to me. In game 1, Clemson won that one by 16. Game 2, Purdue had the comeback, won that one by more than 20. And look at that, Caleb First, who barely gets any playing time in the March Madness right now. He had 20 points that game, Edey with 19 and Kaufman-Wren with 17. Game 3, of course, Clemson getting that one right back. And then game 4, Purdue losing by 4 points. Game 5, Edey with the team high of 19, but they were just short, losing by 3 points to Clemson. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on these results. Personally, I don't see UConn losing 4-1 against San Diego State. Like I said, I see them winning in no more than 6 games. I also think this Purdue-Tennessee series could easily have gone to 7 games as opposed to only 6. And to me, the biggest shocker of them all is Clemson winning this whole thing. I mean, I would have expected maybe UConn, maybe Houston, maybe Duke, maybe Purdue, maybe Tennessee. I would not have expected Clemson to, look, they had 2 7-game series to get here, and then they handled San Diego State pretty easily. The team that beat UConn in 5 and Iowa State in 4 ended up losing 4-1 to Clemson. I'm just shocked. The simulation, very kind to Clemson. And speaking of Purdue and the Boilermakers and Zach Edey, if you want to see a Zach Edey NBA simulation video, click the link on the screen that's appearing right now and go ahead and check that out.